As many of you know, I have just concluded a 40-day fruit fast. 43 days, to be exact. And I've reintroduced steak and eggs into my temple, into my stomach and my solar plexus. Now, some part of me believed that I would walk out of this fruit fast in a waltz of delight, and that it would all just be easy from here. My body is purified and cleansed, and I know exactly what to do. But what I am confronting within the solar plexus energy center and within the stomach, my organ of digestion, of processing, of transmutation, I am realizing that there is a deep, 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 deep wound in my stomach. I feel it energetically. Now, historically, in my own personal life, without getting metaphorical, metaphysical, food has been a difficult journey. Food has played a role of temptation, of comfort, of overconsumption, of overindulgence. Of pursuits of numbing pleasure, to embody patterns of avoidance, attempting to fill a void which can never be filled by such ephemeral pleasures as food. Not only does the avoidance and the avoidance patterns and mechanisms which I've associated with food throughout my life, which I've cultivated with food throughout my life, not only do these create and perpetuate the void itself, the void of avoidance, but they also confront an ancestral void. Belonging to my paternal ancestral lineage. Many fathers and sons on my dad's side of the family, assuming in the line of his fathers and their fathers before them. And I'm realizing my last name is Stout. How did we earn the last name Stout, I wonder? Big boys had to eat. So that as I'm stepping out of this fruit fast and this temple purification and stepping back into potentialities which are adjacent to those patterns of overindulgence, the clearing of limitations which say no to the possibility of such patterns. When I say fruit only, overindulgence with food isn't really possible. It's like fruit, you can eat as much fruit as you want and your body will just feel amazing. Now, if I eat 2 pounds of meat, I'm going to feel sick, I'm going to feel tired, I'm going to feel groggy, I'm going to feel like I can't move. if I eat a bunch of seed oils, if I eat a bunch of processed food, if I eat a bunch of California burritos in San Diego, I'm going to feel like I need to throw up because my body rejects poison, while simultaneously having some kind of affinity for it. So then by stepping out of this fruit fast, with the intention of not squandering all the work that I did, is an opportunity and an invitation to reconsider the whole thing. To essentially decondition and recondition my entire way of relating to my stomach, to my epicenter of digestion, of processing, of transmutation. To the energetic input that I allow into my body. Now here we are speaking of food, and this is the direct consideration of which I'm speaking, but there is also a deeper consideration. Energetic consumption. Emotional processing. Behavioral consumption. What kinds of patterns and ways of relating to the external world in a way that I receive and absorb? What do I wish to allow? And what do I wish to renounce? In confronting the ancestral void which I've inherited, a void of some animalistic creature within my stomach that's always like, more, more, more. It is not enough. I'm not satiated. How do I want to relate to this part of myself which I am confronting more directly? In what ways do I wish to use my willpower, epicenter of the solar plexus, the will of the Father and the Son which I am, to gently and firmly say, no, we will not be consuming any seed oils. We will not be consuming any California burritos. We will not be consuming pounds upon pounds upon pounds of meat. We will not be making any small exceptions. Well, it's just one slice of pizza this one time. Oh, I'll just have one California burrito. Oh, I'll just eat this cheeseburger this one time. Or this pastry. For me, this has always been a slippery slope. And so I get to ask myself, what is that slippery slope? And how, as we are still in the lunar energies of Libra, how do I approach this in a way that is balanced? How do I bring harmony between my will and my soul and my sun, my luminary, my solar essence, and my stomach? How do I do this in a way that not only confronts the void of ancestral pain which I carry, of ancestral, might I even say, purposelessness, which I feel myself carrying. And this is not merely ancestral, this is individual within my life. For a long time, my will has followed solely, and might I even say soullessly, the temptations of my stomach and my sexual organs. The primary goals were food and fuck. In attempts to fill the void. I don't want to be in the business or the purpose or the false pleasure of filling a void. If I feel a void, then I witness pain. How do I heal this pain? How do I consume food that assists in the healing of my pain, in the feeling of my pain, in the confronting as opposed to the avoidance perpetual of my pain? Remembering that my purpose is on the other side and within my pain. So these are questions that I am very seriously considering as I am reintegrating new ways of eating. And now, as I said earlier, this is not limited to food. For the next 2 months, in which I am working specifically with the energy center of the solar plexus, how do I want to harness the power of my mind and its gift and ability to impose limitation and boundaries as a form of self-respect and self-care and temple keeping when willpower is infused with discipline into the respect and establishment of those boundaries? What kinds of boundaries do I want to establish with myself with relation to my consumption in general? Less screen time, more creative use of screen time if and when it comes around, more discipline, more producing and shining into the world rather than absorbing whatever is around me and being a victim to my surroundings. Shine. What kind of consumption in my life will actually amplify my light as opposed to eclipse it? If I eat a burrito, I feel like I eclipse my own light. If I consume 4 pounds of fruit, I feel like I shine. So maybe I'll just keep eating fruit. Maybe that's the answer. The point is, I don't want to entrap myself in spirals of deficiency and excess. I'm seeking balance. I'm seeking the principle of the golden mean. Buddha himself became an ascetic and then overindulged and then was like, neither of those are the answers. The answer is in the middle way. Aristotle himself said the principle of the golden mean is the perfect balance between excess and deficiency. That is virtue. Virtue is that balance, the balance of Libra. And when we allow ourselves to do this work of balancing ourselves harmoniously, not just mind and stomach, or soul and stomach, or heart and stomach, but the balancing of our entire microcosmic body. As the microcosms of the macrocosm of the universe, we bring the universe into balance. This is the kind of rippling which we are casting, bringing into reality. And the ripples are far more vast than we allow ourselves to see. Sun breaking through the clouds. All this to say that this is incredibly deep work, and I do believe that not only is this my core, the core of my solar plexus, but I believe this to be one of my core wounds in my life, which I've often allowed to tempt me into patterns of avoidance, which then eclipse my light and the shining of the sun, which I am. The golden luminous child of my inner child, and the freedom which I choose to embody, as well as the luminary of the sun and the soul which I am. And within the depth of that work, choosing my own luminosity, choosing my own soulful alignment, choosing to prioritize my embodiment and my radiance and my unapologetic self-becoming, as opposed to the mechanical chains of avoidance, of self-imprisonment, of shying away, of hiding, of suppression. The temptations which direct themselves directly into the wound of my stomach, which tempt my stomach with delicious, tasty food, which actually secretly fucking contains parasites in it. What do parasites do when they are in your stomach? They weave themselves into your nervous system, and then they take over your will to try to proliferate themselves for their own survival. The parasites will literally convince your brain that you want ice cream because they need ice cream. I don't want no fucking parasites in my body. I don't want no physical parasites. I don't want no energetic parasites. I don't want no spiritual parasites. I don't want no AI parasites. Infinite power of my mind, infinite power of my heart, infinite power of my soul, infinite power of God. I invoke these to create the boundaries of self-respect, of reverence, of devotion, to simply allow my soul and my will to shine and to seek and to create divine alignment with God. The stomach, particularly when it is wounded, and when for so many it has played the role of a void. Is, for better or worse, an epicenter of spiritual warfare. It is one of the essential battlegrounds for sovereignty. As someone who has inherited a particularized and amplified difficulty in this realm, there is thus a deeper refinement and a deeper and stronger opportunity for realignment and healing. Such that this healing can reverberate into the world. Now look at these hermit crabs. Oh, well, this one hermit crab, can you see it? Eating a coconut. In my considerations, I am wondering, is it true what they say, that in the Garden of Eden, we ate fruit, and that the optimal diet for the human being is fruit? I am bringing this question to the city of Saint Diego, where all kinds of temptations will try to impose themselves upon me, and I will say, "Begone." Apparently this is a boundary which already is like expressing itself as a deep need. No slipping, non-negotiable, no burritos. Oh my God, I just found this most sacred little spot. So I'm gonna be posting about this. And just know, like, this is really, 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 really deep work. I haven't even touched the surface. I've only scratched the surface. I've touched the surface. One moment. Woo! Yeah. 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 So I'm going to be documenting certain confrontations with this deep ancestral wound and other deep wounds that I seem to carry within this energy center. And I'll be taking you along on the journey. And in some sense, I'm posting this because perhaps I will need some accountability support, some moral support, some spiritual support, because this has been very difficult work and challenging work throughout my life. Food is such a source of illusory comfort, and consumption in general for so many human beings, not just myself, not just my ancestry, but entire cities all over the world are built around the false pleasures that food can offer us. Food and sex. They constitute the majority of where people's wills are directed. So, I'm going to learn what I need to learn, all for the refinement of my soulful light and its realignment with God. For that, alignment is innate, but it simply needs to be brought back into the body, clearing away wounds, melting them, and ultimately I speak of going to war. I speak of going to battle. I do these things for the sake of peace, as a prayer for peace, as a living, breathing embodiment of peacefulness. If we can be at peace with our consumption and with our hunger, with these deep, raw, animal, carnal pleasures which tempt us, if we can bring peace to them and create sacred boundaries which we respect for ourselves, and with willpower and with prayer and with divine guidance and willpower, again, and discipline, then we can heal not only ourselves, our stomachs, our guts, but the entire world. Yeah. So that's the conclusion of the fruit fast, which inadvertently turns into a consideration of how I want to bring revolution into the way that I nourish myself, and the way that I consume, and the way that I relate to the world, and the way that I process reality into my becoming. Yeah. I will share it all, and hopefully it won't be too difficult, and it won't be too much of a struggle, and it won't be too vulnerable. Hopefully, I pray and I trust my light will shine resplendent, like the sun. Can I flip the camera? Blessed be you. Thank you for being here. I love you. And may you heal all of your wounds with prayer and will and love.